Essentially, SMMA is actually the best business model to run in 2025, right? And I'm not going to sit here like some guru and try and sell you a course. No, I'm going to give away all of my systems to you for exactly free, top to bottom. If you're a beginner, if you're advanced, if you're professional, no matter what level you're at, I'm going to give you all of my systems away for completely free in this video. Okay? So in this guide, I want you to understand, we're going to cover developed mindset, establishing your business, building a website plus business email, niche selection, market research, constructing your offer, profile optimization for your personal brand, content production, how to outreach, how to book sales calls, how to close a sale, the marketing funnel, how to onboard your clients, and I'm going to give you guys a bunch of tools and softwares at the end that you can also use. Okay, so this is quite value packed, so please, at the end of this video, don't only take notes, also implement as much action to this as possible. As if you just consistently try to learn something and never take action on it, there's no point of doing it. Do you know what I mean? Okay. So obviously, for all the beginners out there, like, what is SMMA, you might ask? So SMMA is actually a social media marketing agency. This is basically a type of business that specializes in helping clients create and execute marketing strategies on various social media platforms, such as Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc. Right? These agencies typically offer a range of services, including like content creation, for example, community management, advertising campaigns, influencer partnerships, business establishing, and even strategy development. Right? So SMMA's aim is to increase brand visibility at the end of the day. You also want to engage with target audiences, drive traffic for their website, and ultimately generate tons of sales and leads for their clients. Right? That's basically the primary aim. And some examples of successful agencies may actually include email marketing, website creation, content creation, videography, SEO, appointment setting, so on and so on and so on. There's multiple different agencies out there. Okay, it's not only these, so please don't just take this into context. So starting off, obviously, developed mindset. A lot of business owners do this when first starting out, and me personally, I actually was a huge victim of this. It's crazy. And I want you to avoid this mistake at all costs, right? A lot of people when first starting out get stuck in the learning stage loop, kind of what I said at the start of this video, right? And I always preach the same thing. They all watch these motivational videos, these value-packed videos, but they never actually take action upon it, right? Then they see no results because they're actually stuck in this consistent loop. And then, they decide to switch business models and consistently do that. See, the main point here is to fully stick to one thing and be fully driven to it and grind at it, no matter what obstacles come at you. Okay, you might think developing mindset isn't important and it might sound corny. However, it's actually the most important thing you need to master before you actually decide to establish your own business, right? If I never did this, my agency would have never even got to 10K at the start. So honestly, having a developed mindset is crucial. And to develop a fully strong business mindset, you must achieve these things, or becoming an entrepreneur may not actually be for you, right? And I've jotted down a lot of bullet points here, which I do think you should definitely take into consideration. Okay, you want to get rid of limiting yourself and limiting your beliefs. Dream as big as possible, right? Because anything is actually achievable if you put in the consistency and the work. A quote I always go by as well: don't be upset by the results you get from the work you didn't do. I always heard that in school, always, but it's so true, it's crazy. Okay, you also want to set weekly goals. Personally, I use the Notion app for this as it's the easiest to track every single thing on. Okay. You also want to have a productive routine. I'm not saying be like maybe Ashton Hall, do his type of morning routine. No, just simple, super chill, right? Morning and night. Get yourself clean, groomed, meditate, even journal, drink 24 ounces of water per morning and night, right? Deep work blocks throughout the day. Get into the gym. Have a healthy diet to avoid being tired and have tons of brain fog. You want to cut out partying, clubbing, drinking, smoking, and even doing drugs, right? Cut out lusting over girls and also forget girls until you've actually developed yourself fully. Girls will come to you eventually. Just cut off girls and cut off lusting over them until you fully developed yourself, right? You want to stop mindlessly scrolling through social media. I personally only use social media for research purposes or business purposes. because at the end of the day, there's no point mindlessly scrolling. It's just bad for you. Okay, you also want to stop hanging around unlike-minded people and also lazy people, as at the end of the day, you will just become one of them. And that's not what we want here, right? You want to become the best version of yourself as possible. And, another very good one that I personally always do as well is start networking and go to some networking events. This one is probably one of the best ones for me, honestly, right? And you also want to ask questions to people who are doing better than you currently and implement tons of action upon that, right? Also, you want to work on your faith and build a relationship with God. Because personally, if you don't have God in your life, like this is my thought, if you don't have God in your life, it's going to be much harder for you to do anything, right? God finds the easiest path for you. God has a set plan laid out for you, okay? And these are just basics to focus on in order to actually develop your best self and be ready to even run a business in general, okay? And I'm talking here from experience as well, because I used to be a victim of at least a good couple of these. And honestly, once I've cut them out, it's just made me feel a lot better and a lot more productive, right? It's made my brain become even more sharper, okay? Following these steps will drastically change your life in the most beneficial ways possible. And that's not even to sound like corny or anything, but it's genuinely true, okay? Moving on, establishing your business, right? In this section, I'm going to cover how you can figure out a name and also create an aesthetic logo for your agency. It's quite simple, to be honest, right? The first step is to pick a name, which is relatively simple. All you need to do is find some random name with what you want to offer. For example, creator operator or service academy operator, any of these names, like these are just brief examples, but you don't really need to, go over the top with your name. You want to be unique, make sure you can get a trademark on it, of course, but just don't go over the top, right? Second step is to go on canva.com and you can either create a dynamic aesthetic logo or just a basic logo. It's your choice, or you can hire a graphic designer. It's up to you, right? Moving on, building a website plus business email. First, you want to go to Google Domains and then type in the domain that you are going to buy. For example, .co.uk, .org, etc. To build a website, you can easily use Wix.com or even Go High Level, right? Me personally, I use Go High Level, so I'm just using it as an example here. You want to go to Go High Level, obviously once you've signed up, etc. I'm going to put the sign up link in the description below if you want a 14-day free trial. Okay, then you want to head over to Funnels, Funnel Templates, and select a template from their library. Add in your logo, add in all your information, and then there you go. Publish it. Use your domain, of course, and then simple as. Right? Moving on. Niche selection. You might be asking, what is a niche? But it's quite a simple term, right? Areas or markets you're working within. Choosing the right niche in SMMA involves consideration of numerous factors, such as your passions, interests, and the expertise. I would say them three are definitely the most important, right? Expertise is to identify areas where you have a competitive advantage or unique insights on other businesses, which is genuinely vital to success, right? You also want to conduct brief market research to understand the demand, competition, and profitability of multiple different niches. Okay. And I've listed a good amount of niches that you can easily get into. You don't really need to overthink it at the end of the day, but you can target fitness creators, dating coaches, health and nutrition coaches, hairdressers and barbers, make money online coaches, e-com creators, business coaches, athletic coaches, self-improvement coaches, investment creators, law firms, home renovation, pool installation, etc. There's multiple more niches, but these are just some brief examples, right? And this is who you should not work with. Make sure you stick to your ethics and don't work with any OF girls or any OnlyFans management guys. No. Any sort of meme pages as well or brain dead creators do not work with. And you want to also avoid startups and one-person businesses, as typically these guys don't really have much funds to invest into themselves and are quite scared to take the risk sometimes. Okay. Moving on, market research. Not a lot to cover here, but this is probably one of the most important foundations when obviously creating your offer and actually doing service delivery as well, and also picking your niche, right? So you need to focus on market research after you've selected your niche. This will genuinely help you design your offer, right? So you want to figure out your niches: wants, desires, fears, and frustrations. You can either use a ChatGPT prompt, which will probably do that for you, or you can do like manual market research, which is just go onto whoever your niche is, find them on Instagram, call them up, and ask some questions about wants, desires, fears, frustrations. Be super chill about it. And once you get these answers, note them down, and you can easily build a unique no-brainer offer around that, which aligns perfectly within the market research answers that you've got. Okay, moving on. Constructing your offer. There are only two main key parts to this, right? The first key being be specific and not random. An example of this could be I do website development for people who sell info products instead of I do website development. Okay, simple, but yet super effective. The second key being they don't really care about your skills, they just care if you're helping them or not, right? This will make them feel like, wow, that's the type of guy I've been looking for. That's essentially the reaction you want to get. Okay, moving on. Profile optimization. Now, this is one of the most important things as well. If you can lay out your profile correctly, this can honestly do wonders, right? You only really need to optimize two platforms when building personal brands. Of course, you can still optimize YouTube, but you want to prioritize these two at first and then YouTube afterwards, right? What actually matters on Instagram? So, a simple name plus username. Simple, first and last name, right? A clean profile picture which shows your face. And you want to also explain what you do in your bio. For example, helping content creators monetize their audience. Right? Various clean, high quality posts on your main feed. You want to have at least 6 to 9 of them on your main profile grid. As you know, when someone comes onto your Instagram, they only usually have about, I'd say, a 3-second attention span. You want to optimize that as much as possible and take advantage of that, right? You want to, enlighten the viewer in a way. Simple, right? Moving on, link in bio, for example, a website, funnel, or even registration for free community, etc. Right? Also, story highlights like testimonials, lifestyle highlights, as the main ones. You want to have them as the main two, right? Obviously, you can add more though, it's your choice. And me personally, I highly recommend the verified tick. I don't know exactly how much it costs, but you have to pay a monthly fee for it. It's not too crazy, I'll be honest. It's not too crazy, but if you can afford it, definitely get the verified tick just because it shows more credibility and shows that you're actually human. Okay, so what actually matters on TikTok as well? A simple name plus username, first and last name. Same as Instagram, really. Clean profile picture shows your name, same as Instagram. Explain what you do in your bio, once again, same as Instagram. Link to your Instagram page, right? And also the link to your website. Have these two connected to TikTok on your profile, right? Also, I want you to understand, do not send DMs from a scammy or anonymous page. I see this time and time again. This is what you should do. And this is just an example. I'm going to put my own as an example, right? You want to have a credible personal brand. Once again, 6 to 9 high quality posts, story highlights, link in bio, detailed bio, first and last name, clean profile picture, verified check, simple username, good amount of followers, etc. Do not buy followers though, as they do ruin your engagement. You want to scale organically. Please take note of that. Do not buy followers, right? Also, what not to do, right? There's no slate to the marketing agencies that I'm showing here, but it's just a brief example. You don't want to be sending out DMs from agency pages or, anonymous pages. You're not really going to trust them. You don't want to, you essentially want to, focus on sending DMs from your personal brand as, be honest, if you got a message from this account or this account, who would you trust more? Do you know what I mean? It's a matter of that as well. Right, moving on, content production, how to build an audience that knows, likes, and trusts you, right? Build a personal brand, post content, and also become the expert. They're the 3 steps you want to focus on. Step 1, in more detail, is, this is how you're going to get to 30K followers in both platforms, right? Create a personal brand on TikTok and Instagram, which I've just covered. Show yourself, your lifestyle, mindset, and also provide a bunch of value, short form and long form, right? How to actually make good content, right? The things that usually matter is the audio quality, the script, the lighting, right? Keep this in mind. 80% of successful content mainly comes from very good lighting. And also your speaking as well. Speaking is crucial. The way you put yourself out there, your body language. Do you know what I mean? Right. Step 2, content style. So you have a TikTok native style, right? Regular TikTok video, no editing. Very raw, but simple. Easy. Green screen. Put up a picture of you, your face, someone else's face in the background of the screen and talk over it. Easy. Talking heads, which is popular, includes editing and captions. Once again, simple. Or B-roll voiceovers, a script and a voiceover. Easy, right? Step 3, becoming the expert. Do this by providing free value. And I say this over and over again to my friends or my connections, etc., right? Provide as much free value as possible. For example, talk about how you made a life transition, broke to rich, fat to ripped, etc., right? Framework to use for this is, I went from XYZ to XYZ in time frame. For example, I went from broke to rich in 90 days. Easy. Here are the 3 steps I took, and then you want to basically cover life lessons, mistakes I've made, tips, steps I've took, etc. Right, point 1, point 2, point 3, easy. And then a CTA call to action. So DM me leads for more info, or DM me leads to scale your offer, etc. Right? Once again, it all depends on how you want to layer out your CTA and your offer, but it can vary, right? Best way to outreach is, firstly, you must find an ideal client, right? If your niche is an online personal trainer, you will go into Instagram and search up online personal trainers, and a list of them come up. You then want to engage on their posts by following them and also liking and commenting on their 3 last posts. Then you want to simply DM them the name. So, hey John, right? And keep this in mind, please. Send only a maximum of 10 DMs an hour to avoid action blocking. 10 DMs an hour, right? And you want to also alternate between hey name and a unique opener, such as, do you offer XYZ service, or are your services worldwide or USA based? Okay. Or you could hire a virtual assistant on Fiverr or Upwork to send the initial first DM for you. All you have to do is respond and carry on the rest of the conversation. Okay. Easy. Framework for this, if you're doing it yourself, is response. Before anything can happen, you need to get an initial response first, which is why you're using these openers, right? Gather information after you do that, right? You then want to easily just figure out their current situation. For example, you can ask how many clients they have or how much they are currently earning, etc. Figure out their desired situation, right? Ask them where they want to be in 6 to 12 months. And then you want to also find out their pain after that. Find out what's stopping them from being there. And then you want to basically go over to the help part. Ask them if they would like any help with that. Right? And then provide a call to action maybe. Ask them if they would be willing to hop on a 45-minute Zoom call to see if and how you can help them with their problem. Right? But once again, you want to be super chill about all this. You don't want to sound too salesy, too pushy. Be super chill. Show yourself. Don't fake no persona, or don't be too professional. Do you know what I mean? Right? Moving on, how to close a sale, right? Once you've got that call booked, closing a sale is one of the most important parts of selling a course even, or doing great service delivery, right? As this is the part where you make profits. There are numerous methods in closing a sale, such as body language, tonality, and being persuasive in order to draw your clients, right? Make sure to take down notes from what the prospect says on the call. Okay, do not read or follow a sales script, as sales is proven to be harder while actually reading the script. And it's true as well. Okay, I've gone through that as well. I've gone through trial and error within that. It's better to just follow a framework rather than a whole script. This is a pre-call ritual that I use. So you want to basically close your eyes, 5 deep breaths, glass of water, and read the affirmations out loud. It might sound corny, but yes, it does actually help out a lot. Okay, before the call, you also want to write down their name, where they're from based on their country, right? Obviously based on their country code, how much they have saved up, and if they need a partner on the call or not. That way you'll get a brief idea of knowing them before the call. Okay, and the framework for this sales call is essentially you want to build rapport, so introduce yourself and actually understanding the prospect on the call, right? Set the agenda for the call, telling them how the call will go, then their current situation. So ask some situation questions. For example, ask them how much they're currently making or how many clients they currently have. Then figure out their desired situation, ask them where they want to be in about 6 to 12 months' time. Figure out their roadblocks, so ask them what's stopping them from being there. And then you basically want to reconstruct everything. So restate all their answers from the sections above. So current situation, desired situation, roadblocks or pain problems, however you want to say it, right? Then you want to essentially state your 3-pillar pitch. So the main 3 pillars of your business, briefly explained in a high level. Okay. Then you want to basically lay out the logistics of your service or your program. So easily just the tools that come along with it. Okay. Then you basically want to state your price. Okay. Be super chill about this. Don't be pushy. Give them the price and then be quiet until they say something. Do not, like, for example, say, cool, it's only 2K a month. Don't say a word after that. Zip your mouth. Go on to mute if you need. Okay? Wait for them to say something. Then, obviously, you're going to get objections. 99 times out of 10, you're going to get an objection. So you want to easily handle any objection that they may have upon you. Use common knowledge, right? Simple as. And then payment. You want to receive the payment while on the call. This is super important. Prospects may say, oh, I'll get back to you, I'll pay you in a couple of days. They're not going to, right? Through the payment process of fan bases, which I will actually link in the description as well, if you want to get signed up, or you can easily use Stripe. But I personally use fan bases. For me, it's a good payment processor as well. But remember, receive the payment on the call, right? Then simple onboarding. Once they've paid, explain the onboarding process, and then finally onboard them into your whole service or program. And you want to make sure you set high expectations. Make sure to invest the most amount of time and the most amount of effort into your onboarding process, as this is crucial. I say it time and time again, but your onboarding process needs to be value packed. That sets a lot of expectations as well. Okay. And moving on, the marketing funnel. If you do or not, if you know or you don't know this, it's quite simple. There are only 4 main stages to the marketing funnel, which you need to understand and take advantage over. Okay, it's basically the process your future clients go through, and you need to make the best out of it. So strangers is essentially when they're first attracted to your personal brand. Okay, then they convert into visitors. So strangers start to become regular visitors of your content and your personal brand due to the algorithms of social media. So once again, if you optimize personal branding and content creation correctly, this whole funnel will work perfectly for you, right? Then visitors become generated leads through call to action, free value that you may provide in your content or even your personal brand, right? Then they eventually could convert into customers. The lead then gets persuaded into becoming a customer if you provide tons of free value, you're super chill, they know you, they like you, and they trust you. Obviously, if you do this through CTA keywords as well, it'll be a lot more easier. Once again, as they'll start to trust you more. Easy, right? And you might be wondering as well how to actually onboard your clients. But me personally, I see a lot of agencies invest the most amount of time and money into their onboarding section for their clients. The reason behind this is very, very simple yet super effective. This is one of the most important parts, and I said it before, right? This will set the expectation of the experience that the clients are gonna, have over the next coming months of working with you, right? It'll give your clients a good first impression after they sign and pay with you. The whole process of onboarding is not hard. Anyone can actually do it. You just gotta structure it correctly. And I've even gave you like a little framework or a setting that you can easily use. Stage 1, set expectations, especially when explaining your pillars and logistics of your program. Right. Stage 2, payment and invoice. Make sure they pay while they're on the call, and this process can be done through Stripe or fan basis, like I said before. Right. Stage 3, make sure they sign a contract between you. Right. Make sure both parties sign, and this should be done after the client is finally paid and past stage 2. Stage 4, access plus onboarding. Give them full access to your paid community program service, whatever you sell. Right. Stage 5, client communication. Always respond to your client's questions in your community or program, unless it's one-to-one. You want to do your communication through either Messenger or WhatsApp. Me personally, I use WhatsApp as it's just a lot easier for me. And yeah, a lot more people are on WhatsApp, right? Stage 6, service delivery. Depending on what your service is, you can vary from how you obviously provide your service. But once again, service delivery, you should easily be able to do this on your own, especially if you've built like a good offer around it. Okay. Tools and software. This is also, the final part to this course, but these are just some brief tools that you may or may not use. Anyways, right? Instagram. This is an app where you will show the most amount of success and also build a personal brand on here. This is probably where the most amount of traffic will come into. It's a known fact, right? TikTok. This is primarily simple and kind of similar to Instagram, as you'll be posting the exact same videos on both platforms to increase brand recognition and also bring in leads through CTAs. Right, Mercury. This is going to be a main business bank account where all your revenue from your business will stream into, right? DocuSign. This is where your clients or team members will sign digital contracts. Stripe or fan bases, whatever you want to use. Payment processors where clients can make a payment on. Zapier. This is a platform mainly used for what you want to use automations for within your business. Slack. This is a very good app to use when you're trying to do business communication with your team or even clients if you want. Okay. Google Docs, where you can easily create free value for your clients, create frameworks, or even track finances, etc. Right. Zoom. This is where you'll host meetings with the prospects, clients, team members, etc. Calendly. This is probably the best app or website to use when booking meetings or allowing prospects or leads to book in with you for a sales call. But yeah, that is the whole entire course covered for you. I will also link a couple things in the description below. Feel free to check it out.